Thanks for joining us this week on Email Geeks at Home Drinking Coffee. Join your hosts Chris Marriott and Paul Schreiner each week as they talk email marketing, life, purpose, faith, but mainly email marketing. If you're looking for some normalcy in these crazy times, you've come to the right place.
Well, welcome back to Email Geeks at Home Drinking Coffee. It's been a minute. We're sort of trying to figure out the new schedule and life and all that stuff, but still enjoying what we're doing. What do you think, Marriott?
Yeah, I'd say, we respect our audience, we respect your time, and when we have an interesting guest, we have a podcast, and which means we're not necessarily weekly any longer, but it's still always seat of your pants entertainment.
Right, and honestly, if there's a guest you want us to see, let us know. Emailgeekscoffee@gmail.com. That's a great way to get a hold of us. We want to hear who you want us to talk to, because honestly, it's top shelf entertainment.
Yeah, and if you happen to know Vince Vaughn, if you have a connection with Vince Vaughn, please send that through. We're still pursuing him.
Oh goodness! All right,
hey, Paul, you're too far down in your visual. You're too.
Oh, you know what? You're right. You're right.
I know you want us all to notice the Paul artwork behind you.
You know what? I'll save that for the second half.
I was going to say we'll get to that in the post show. What do we got? What do you got for us today? Who's our sponsor? What's going on?
None other.
And who am I? You forgot to introduce me.
Well, you're my good friend and colleague, co-host, Chris Marriott. None other than
and that's Chris Paul Marriott. Schreiner, the ever amazing Paul Schreiner.
Yeah, well, thank you. Sponsors today, we've got Audience Point. We've launched some new tech. We just launched a self-service app to allow you to get access to that same list fit content. We have a new report there that's just getting rave reviews. I think it's free to run. Check out app.listfit.com. I think you're going to be absolutely dazzled with the amount of information you can get previously unavailable. So I think you're going to love it.
And if you look up innovation today in the dictionary,
I did.
It's Audience Point. Innovation, thy name is Audience Point.
Well,
amazing amount of stuff coming out of there. We're also co-sponsored by none other than Email Connect, the world's
I've heard of them.
The world's leading consultancy providing top brands with email RFP guidance and
I'll tell
advice.
I continue to hear from industry folks, Chris, that are just dazzled with the service that you provide because it's so unique. No one, like if you want to get a better ESP, a cheaper ESP, sort of the whole thing, there is no one that knows it better than you, and you get people better deals, you get better relationships. I don't know why anyone wouldn't use you.
You're too kind. You're too kind, Mr. Schreiner.
Well, thank you, sir. With that, Chris, let's welcome our guest,
Yes.
Deraney Deraney. Welcome back to Email Geeks at Home Drinking Coffee. We appear to be at home yet again, drinking coffee. We've got a special guest today. It's one of those sort of chance meetings that happened on Twitter. And I just love his feed so much. It was one of those situations where I was like, we just need to talk to him. Chris and I have been putting together this, I don't want to say stupid podcast, Chris, because I know there are people that wait, on each episode drop, everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's a lot of people begging to be on it.
Right, standing in line. And so when we had the opportunity to bring on someone like Danny today, super excited. Again, just the kind of guy you just want to talk through life with. Anyway, Danny Deraney, he's in public relations. He's got a pretty spectacular Twitter feed. His name of his company is Deraney Public Relations, and glad to have you on the show.
Oh man, thank you guys for having me, both of you. I mean, it is an honor to even be asked, even for a drink or whatever, but to be on a podcast, I love it.
Well,
excellent.
Giddy up. Well, let me set the stage on how I first stumbled upon.
Wait. You're stomping
right,
on tradition.
Oh, you're right. And I am that guy today.
Okay.
Would you do it, Chris?
Yeah. So we always start with talking about what we're drinking, and hence the Email Geeks at Home Drinking Coffee. But because our recording times have tended to shift, we're not always drinking coffee, but we do like to go around the horn. Anyway, so Danny, what are you drinking?
Well, I usually, if I'm imbibing something quaffable, I just want to put those two words together.
Right.
Nice. Such a
The
pro.
two words I never say.
That's
You
a
can tell he
veteran
works
PR
in
move
PR.
right there.
Yes.
pro.
I will never say those words in public ever. So I think I've actually put those two words together for the first time in my lifetime.
Right.
If I do imbibe something alcoholic, it's usually on like a weekend or something, and it's
Sure.
not usually more than one. But although I did last Wednesday, I believe, I did have some Macallan 12
Ooh.
around 11 o'clock in the morning, because 2 days a week I do some work. My only vice in this world are cigars, and
Yeah.
so Tuesdays and Wednesdays I usually go to my local cigar lounge and hang out with a bunch of people where I'm definitely the baby there. But I go there and just hang out and work with my laptop on.
Sure.
And it was the guy's birthday, a guy I didn't even know, and they were celebrating his birthday. It was 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and someone just gave me some Macallan 12 on the rocks. I'm like, all right, and baklava. So
There you go.
I had like
And
6 pieces of baklava and some Macallan 12, and I was done. But no, usually throughout the day, I'll tell you my drinking schedule, because I always tell people I have a drinking problem, meaning I don't drink.
Right.
But
That
if
is a problem.
yeah, anything, like drink anything. But I'll have my coffee in the morning,
Right.
and then I wait and I wait and I wait, and then I have iced coffee like around 2. But in between that time and dinner time, my favorite thing, and out here in California where we can grow yummy citrus trees and things like that, my favorite thing that my house has outside of my family and my dog is my Meyer lemon tree.
Oh yeah, Meyer lemons are spectacular.
And from there, the new crops are already growing, but I'll say from February-ish until right now, usually, I have about maybe 15, 20 left. Okay. It's nothing but Meyer lemons. And so every day I will make lemonade for myself. So I am drinking lemonade in my Contigo, if you want to sponsor this podcast, in my Contigo cup.
I'm pretty sure they'll be lining up. I'm pretty sure that will happen. And Chris, have you had Meyer lemons? They're spectacular.
No, but I did plant 2 orange trees in our house in Alabama, but I haven't yet brought a crop in. So
it's like the same thing, honestly. You put them
lemon,
side by side,
orange.
you wouldn't be able to tell them apart.
I wouldn't say it's the same thing, but it's definitely sweeter than a normal lemon.
Yeah, Paul, there you go. And I can't even remember. I mean, these are little baby orange trees, but the guy said, I'll get a crop in this year, but they'll probably be little baby oranges too.
Oh yeah,
but,
yeah, for sure.
But so I'm drinking though. It's just one of the reasons I think we record these later is those long-standing fans of the show will remember the ongoing bit every week when we were drinking coffee about how I would drink Santo Domingo coffee from the Dominican Republic. And Danny, you don't know this, but Paul had an all expense paid vacation that his wife earned on her job to the Dominican Republic, which is one of the most glorious places on the planet. And this was all expense paid, and he'd arranged babysitting for his 5 kids and dogs and cats.
Everything.
And then COVID hit.
Yep, and then we didn't get to go. And Chris likes to bring it up on a weekly basis.
I haven't brought it up for almost a couple of seasons, so I will. But I want to give. But I'm drinking ugly sparkling water.
Yep.
From the Dominican Republic.
Is it from the Dominican Republic, Chris?
No, this is from Hugh. The company's from the UK.
Ugly Hugh.
It's a limited distribution brand in the US, but it's delicious. I ordered on the internets, and
well, I don't know you know this, Chris. They got a distribution deal through CVS, and so
I know I bought them down in Alabama, but
it's fantastic.
Last time I checked in my Lake Forest CVS, they were sold out, and I berated the proprietor and said you need to keep it in stock. But yeah, you're right, they do sell in CVS. So Danny could get it. I think they have the CVS in LA.
We do. With the receipts that are enough to be like at least half a roll of toilet paper. Absolutely.
Right.
That's true.
Well,
that's true. Paul, what about you?
I'm just having water today in my retro Folgers cup. I've been going full retro lately, and it makes me feel good. So
good.
Yeah.
Are there crystals in your Folgers cup?
No, but I got it in Boise, Idaho this summer. It was at an antique store, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy anything, but I'll buy this.
Chris got me there. Chris got me my reference.
Yeah. Oh, I did. Absolutely. And in fact, I'm going to riff off of that and say, Paul, finish this sentence. The best part of waking up.
I want to answer it because I know the right answer, but I feel is Folgers in your coffee.
It's Folgers in your coffee.
There we go. There we go.
Take Bud.
Have you ever? Okay, I'm a diehard Kiss fan. Okay, I'm just gonna make that abundantly clear.
Kiss, the band. Kiss.
The band with the makeup. Can you see it in my office? Any Kiss stuff?
No, I see Ozzy. Big fan of Ozzy.
Ozzy. I repped Ozzy. No, I didn't rep him. I did PR for Ozzy for 6 years. But actually, up above here is a sign. That's actually my only Kiss thing in here. Not outside of the vinyl I have. But I'm like a mega Kiss fan.
I love it.
Not the current, because I'm not a fan of the two guys that are replacement players for wearing the same guy's makeup. But well, that's another story and podcast. But
there's a lot there too.
If you go online, you can find forever it was circulated the Paul Stanley Folgers coffee commercial, which is like, what? Why is he doing this? And this is like around the time they did their first farewell, I think like in the late 90s.
Right.
And they actually filmed a commercial which was released, but I guess they didn't want to they thought a guy that was in makeup was bad for their image. He wasn't in makeup. He was completely just walking around, but he wasn't in makeup. But Folgers apparently decided to can the commercial because they thought it was bad for their image. But it's just him, sans makeup. And it's like a circus is happening around him.
Yeah.
Like, you're drinking the shittiest coffee. And it's like, that's what your image is. I mean, right. I don't think Paul Stanley drinks your coffee.
No. But that's not the most notorious Folgers ad. The most notorious one is the brother and sister there, aren't they?
Yes, I remember that.
That one, that one. Oh my gosh, go on the Googles and the YouTubes. That's creepy.
Like right now, if I'm right, it's the one where the brother like comes home from college, right?
They don't really say where he's coming home from, but yeah, he comes home. It's like Christmas morning.
Yeah,
parents aren't awake yet.
Yes,
but his sister is.
They're gonna love this. Oh man.
Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what, marketing, it matters, people. Like pay for your marketing. Don't do it on your own.
I don't. Okay, so I'm a child of the 80s, and I remember, and it's funny to look back on it now. But what was that? Was it? It wasn't Taster's Choice. What was that coffee brand that had all those different flavors, like International House of Coffees or something? Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, International Delight,
something like that.
No. But I know what you're talking about, but I can't. Was it
International House of Pancakes? No, like International something, whatever it was.
Yeah. I thought it was International Delight, but that's good.
I remember watching those commercials as a kid, thinking like it was this like fancy ass coffee.
Someday when I make it, I'm gonna be walking in. I'm gonna have cans upon cans of that stuff.
Yeah, and it's like it was like two friends, like two stay-at-home moms, like look at us, we've made it in this life. Right. And just they're just so happy.
Right.
Like great. And like they're like in some cottage in France.
Right.
And it's like this $2 coffee in a can.
Right. And do you remember having your first cup of it? I do. I remember
of that coffee, of that brand.
I never drank that coffee.
I do. Like I remember it was like just out of college. So I don't think we're that age different. Graduated from college in 97, so 93 high school, right?
Yeah.
And I remember like 97, I got a can of that stuff and I was like, I'm graduated and this is awesome. Putting it in my cup and being like, that's right, I have arrived.
Yeah. I think my mom bought, remember like in the late 80s, early 90s, that cappuccino craze?
Yes.
This is pre-coffee house craze, but there was a cappuccino phase.
Yes. Yeah.
Phase and craze.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And they bought the cappuccino, one of those things. And I thought it was like, that's right, I'm having a cappuccino right now. None of my friends are.
I'm so fancy. Well, I want to talk about your mom. I don't know your mom, but I feel like I do. And here's why. Okay. So I first ran across you on the Twitters, and I don't remember what exactly it was, but you would basically, and this is when I was like, okay, this is a person that, should have in my life. And basically you were like, listen, I will post my mom's hummus recipe if I get to, I think it was 10,000 followers or something.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, and I was like, and I remember being like, well, here's what I know. I know my wife is Italian, and if I ever post her family's, spaghetti sauce recipe online, that's when the divorce comes, right? So like, I realized at that moment, like, this is no small thing for you, but the rest of the world, it probably is like, whatever, no big deal.
Right.
So anyway, and I'm watching this thing snowball, right? From like, you have like 100 followers, and then it's like 500 followers, and then it's 1,000, and you're like, damn, this is crazy.
Well, it wasn't that
right?
much. I think I was close to 10,000. I think I was like, when I made the announcement, I think it was around 6,000 maybe, around there. But yeah, I was like snowballing because it went over. I mean, over time, it's obviously it's grown,
taken on its own sort of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, you hit 10,000 and you release the recipe, and it's got 6 ingredients, right? I mean, that's part of the simplicity and power of this thing,
right?
And I don't want to give anything away, but it's yogurt. It's Greek yogurt. That's what makes it magic. It's like a creamy fluff that's all like.
I would call it Greek yogurt because I think the difference between Greek yogurt and plain yogurt is I'm not, and it's not. I always say there's no such thing as not liking a food because you don't have that decision. You could tell me right now, Chris, that I hate donuts. I hate the way I hate the way donuts taste. It's like, no, you don't. Your taste buds don't like it. They tell you that you think it tastes like crap. That's what you don't like. You have no choice. I mean, look, when I see a cheese, I hate cheese, most cheese. I see a grilled cheese sandwich, it looks amazing. I know when I put it in my mouth, it's going to be shit.
Right.
That's what I say. So,
well, you know who hates donuts? Absolutely nobody.
Right. Nobody hates donuts. Actually, no. My daughter hates anything cake-like.
Oh.
Don't get me started. But if you put Greek yogurt in it, I think it's going to actually change the flavor considerably because it has that kind of like tangy, sour creamy vibe, where plain yogurt just has a little bit of. It's very light, but it's going to add the creamy consistency to it, which I think is something that people don't know about. But, yes, but you're right. I mean, like you saw it, because my problem was this. I've passed through most of my life as someone, when they look at me, I think I'm tan now because I'm in 100-degree weather. But when they look at me, they think I'm like some white Irish Italian kid. And I've never looked Lebanese at all, Yeah. My mom is fully blooded Armenian. She looks like a white woman. So it's like you can't tell by looking at me, So for me, hummus was practically it was something that's on my plate. Like not during the week, but once a week, my mom would make it. It's there for dinner time. Company's over. It's the thing that's on your plate next to the kebabs, next to the steak, next to whatever it is. And so it was funny to me seeing all these brands start making it, people making it, and then people, making dessert hummus. And all
it's true.
Which I'm like, what is happening? It's like then you're seeing like someone with a hummus dispenser and like all and like so many things and then you've got companies like Sabra who just bastardize it and do awful things, donate to awful people, but that's a whole other story.
Oh, I don't know about that, but
Sabra is actually banned on at least 2 to 3 U.S. campuses that I'm aware of.
Oh wow,
banned.
Well, that's good to know.
How do you ban a food?
Right. How do you ban?
I mean, how do you ban something as delicious as hummus, even if it's Sabra?
No.
No.
I did not hear that.
Well, I'm not privy to your recipe.
No, but it's okay. But
it's on Twitter, and I want to take a moment, and I want you to I want everyone to have it's President
Hummus. President Hummus
is the alias. The recipe is there. It's 6 ingredients. It's so simple. Like I make it once a week now. My kids I have a question for you about it. Now my kids are saying like 3-4 cans of chickpeas at a time because it's just not enough. Like I'm making the big vat of hummus.
That's
now.
amazing.
That's awesome,
amazing.
right? And I'll be honest, I have handed out that recipe as my own to people like, yeah, that's my hummus recipe. I mean, I do give you credit.
This is why I did it, because I got so pissed off at so many people bastardizing. I mean, to me, look, it's part of Middle Eastern culture. I mean, look, it started in Egypt, and people kind of took it as their own. I think really the Lebanese, and I'm not just saying that because I am, but just
sure.
And, this is what they say. I mean, and I'm not going to put the flag on any of that stuff. They basically claim it as their own, even though Egypt kind of invented it. But I just had such a problem with what people were doing because it's so identified with their culture. It's like, I'm not going to make chocolate sushi and call it sushi. I'm not going to make cauliflower rice. No, I'm kidding. There's no race attached to that. But the point is that I'm not. It's when I see it, it's so bastardizing and so. I'll throw it out there. It's a little racist to me when I see people trying to make things and just try to rid something that's a country or a some sect or it's part of their identity. And when you just, I mean, to me, it's just literally shitting on what they're associated with. And that's why I had the problem. So I go, look, I'm sick and tired of you guys like going to a store and buying your own or buying such horrible brands, which look, I've tasted Sabra once, and I tasted it because it was there and it was in it wasn't even in its container. It was at a friend's, I want to say baby shower or something. And it was in a Corningware kind of thing. And I'm like, I took one taste of it. I'm like, what is this?
The CEO of Sabra wakes up in cold sweat screaming, "Damn it, Deraney!"
Yeah. I mean, I remember trying it in my mouth going, why does this have such a nutty,
it's not
nutty flavor? And there's like an aftertaste to it, which is like upsetting, which I didn't like. And
maybe you should try the olive tapenade version because it's got that delicious olive in the center.
But again, it's not hummus.
No, and then I think that's fair to say.
What you're eating is olive garbanzo bean dip.
Yeah,
hummus translates to garbanzo beans. That's what it is.
Right.
It's literally the chickpea. So someone the other day said, "What if I put red roasted peppers or oh God, what the heck?"
Sabra does.
Right. I go, no, but what you're getting then is red roasted pepper garbanzo bean dip,
which is cool. If you like it,
yeah. But that's what you are eating. You are not eating hummus.
Okay.
And I think that's a fair distinction.
Saying beer. No, it's not beer.
So hummus is not like potato chips. They're all chips, barbecue, plain, or salt and vinegar are all chips. But what you're saying is hummus, you add another flavor and now it's not hummus.
No.
Okay. I think that's fair. And I do
too.
I don't think a potato chip is because I mean the literal translation is the chickpea.
Yeah.
That's it. It's chickpea. It's a grounded chickpea made with chickpea paste or sesame paste.
Yeah.
With
tahini, right?
I mean, just basically adding like a couple of ingredients. When your hummus exceeds 6 ingredients, I mean, you don't have to put yogurt in there. You don't have to put
garlic. Is it garlic?
Garlic, yeah, garlic.
I mean, that's in bounds.
Like it, huh?
Garlic's in bounds, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, it's those ingredients. I mean, technically, the yogurt isn't really not involved, but it just adds a consistency because you're not putting. Here's a half cup of yogurt that goes there. It's so minuscule.
Well, and I did want to talk hummus with you because honestly, hummus fanboy now. Mm-hmm. But I am curious, like, what does Mom say about you publishing the recipe?
It's not. She's the type of person that doesn't care.
Okay.
I wanted to do it because I wanted people to make their own, to try something different, to do it right. Sure. Look. You want to put 5 cloves of garlic in there? You put 5 cloves of garlic in there. I'm going to put 2. I don't care if you like. I don't. Whatever.
Sure.
But this is what it is, and that's what I wanted people to make. I wanted people to try something good and try something authentic that they could make, and just. I mean, and it keeps for what, like 2 weeks if you're not eating it all at once. If you
doesn't keep. that long in our house. Just
Yeah, but I'm saying, I mean, if you're alone and you're not going to eat it every day, well, for someone who's eaten it his whole life, it's going to keep. And
well,
you know,
mom's okay with it. Mom's like, this is awesome.
Yeah, no, my mom doesn't like attention. My mom is the type of person. I tell the story now because it just blew my mind. That 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
3 years ago, I think I have a tweet somewhere on this. My mom just out of nowhere laid on us that part of her, I don't know if it was high school or junior high, I forget which one, but part of her requirement when she went to high school or school, whatever it was, in Aleppo, Syria, was a military requirement.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't like she was in the service or anything, but it was like essentially like a class. Maybe it lasted a year or something like that. I don't know. Not like, like college in Israel, you have to go to the army. It wasn't like one of those things.
Right.
So she must have been, I mean, she's really young. I mean, clearly somewhere between, I mean, she didn't tell me how old she was. I don't remember. So I'm going to say somewhere between 9 and 15, 9 and 16. Yeah. And she just out of nowhere says, oh yeah, every morning we had to learn how to put together a gun, or to assemble, clean, fire, disassemble, clean our gun. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And my dad goes, tell her what kind of gun it was. Oh, an AK-47.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So my mother, who is all of 5 feet tall, learned how to assemble, disassemble, and clean and fire a semi-automatic rifle. And so it's like, but again, it's like I should go. And the first thing she said was, don't go put it on Twitter, Danny. It's like, or whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm absolutely putting that on Twitter. Are you kidding me? Like, who just drops that bombshell that their mother knows how to fire an AK-47?
Right.
It's like, and she still asks about that stuff. Or it's like, or my dad gets more of a kick out of it. That I think like 500,000 people have looked at that recipe or something like that. But they get more of a kick. My mom wants nothing of it. My mom wants no attention whatsoever. I mean, I think when I did the AK-47 one, I think she was convinced that the FBI was going to come looking for her or something like that. I mean, that's just that natural Arab Middle Eastern worry that just comes with everything.
Yeah. Well, it's fascinating that you got into PR when you had a mom who was sort of, it sounds like not necessarily anti-attention for you and for her, for all that, but certainly wasn't seeking it out, right?
No, not a seeker at all.
So where did you develop that sort of in the midst of your sort of childhood growth? Because we can all look back and go, okay, this is where this, I've got this thing, and yeah, there's the trail, right? Where was your trail? How did you get there?
My trail was, well, when I was younger, I wanted to be a baseball player. I wanted to be
the second baseman for the New York Yankees. That was my goal. But I realized fairly quickly I wasn't good enough, even though I played Little League and all that. That's what I really wanted. I think that's the first time I remember of a career choice that I wanted. And if I couldn't do that, I wanted to be in sports somehow, or two things. I either wanted to do sports broadcasting, whether it was play-by-play or do the news, or I just lost my train of thought. Or I remember on TV I'd watch. I'm a big fan of like Turner Classic Movies. I love watching.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I love watching old movies, and I always remember being fascinated by two things in movies. One, if there was a movie about like someone that was, not fake famous, meaning it's a story about some fictional character or whatever, or some story about somebody else. I was always intrigued by, like, how you would always see. They would, they pass time through movies, and the newspaper is spinning, and it's like Variety and saying new star set to star in whatever movie agent said, or whatever, so and so to be in new movie, whatever it was. I was always fascinated by like those magazines. Like, how do I get to be in those magazines, or how do I get to be in that print? Or there would always be some character, and now I hate it. As much as I love that movie, I hate how much I wanted to be like him. That racist guy, Walter Brennan in Pride of the Yankees. Total, he's just a racist prick. But in the movie, he's not, obviously.
Right.
But I wanted to be that agent, like that publicist. I think he's more of a sports writer publicist for Lou Gehrig in the movie. But I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be the guy like in Holiday Inn, the guy, I can't think of the actor's name that plays like Fred Astaire's manager agent. Like I wanted to be that guy.
That's fascinating. You didn't want to be the guy. You wanted to be the guy behind the guy.
Well, if it was in PI, yeah. I didn't want to be an actor because I can't memorize words at all,
right,
whatsoever. But I wanted to be the person who's helped creating.
Cool.
I didn't want that. Now, if I was obviously doing sports, I could have done that my own way. But growing up here in LA, I had the best teachers for play-by-play. I mean, people who weren't like your announcers that were just homers. You're in Illinois, like Ken Harrelson, just like, okay, dude, just take it down. Harry Carey, just take it down a little.
No, I will not sit here. I
love Harry Carey. I love Harry Carey.
No, the Hawk. I don't care about Harry Carey.
But it's like, White Sox 7, bad guys 2.
It's like, shut up, dude. Shut up.
But he had all the classic catchphrases. You can put on the board. Yes.
Yeah. I don't hate him as much as I hate others, but it's just like I was just trying to relate to you, Chris.
Just trying to connect, Chris. That's all. Just trying to connect.
And and just before we move off of White Sox announcers, I think their current Jason Benetti or Benedetti or whatever for the White Sox currently is the single best play-by-play guy.
I like him
in baseball.
I listen to him because I'm as a Yankee fan, I was watching the recent White Sox A's series, and so I was really starting to listen to him. And plus, with Giolito up there, he's a local boy from out here, so we're very proud of him.
Love Gio, and Steve Stone is amazing. He literally knows what the pitcher is going to throw. If you watch enough, he's always saying, now he's going to throw a slider. Now he's going to throw. It's unbelievable. And Paul's going, oh, I don't like baseball.
No, you won't hear me complain.
So I had a lot of teachers who I liked. I mean, the Lakers had Chick Hearn. I mean, I hated the Dodgers my whole life, but I never missed a game because I loved Vince Scully that much.
Oh yeah.
I won't attack your icon.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, but my icon will.
Knives out.
Wait. You could attack the Dodgers. I don't care.
Right.
But
Vince Scully, right? But
Vince Scully is here. Everybody else is like somewhere in the garage, like I am. Anyway, but like I really wanted to do that, and I actually got it. So in college, when I was in college, I got a job.
And you went to San Francisco State. Is that right? Is that my memory? Yeah. Okay.
San Francisco State, and I got a job at the local CBS affiliate KPIX, and I was there. I mean, my first job was an intern, at the in the sports department, and that just was like, as a sports fan, that was like so surreal because like here I am, a lot of the stuff I had to do was actually go to games, be in the locker rooms, interview players that I never thought I would ever meet, people at the time like Jerry Rice, Steve Young. I mentioned Golden State Warriors, but nobody cared about the Golden State Warriors until
Chris Mullen, but yeah.
They didn't even care about him, please. Who else? And like Barry Bonds at the time. There were, I mean,
Kevin Mitchell, he would have been that same era.
Actually, you know what? Kevin Mitchell, yes, but Kevin Mitchell when he was an Oakland A for 5 seconds. And I did he was one of the first people I ever interviewed, actually.
I didn't realize he was an A. I knew he was a Giant.
For 5 seconds. I think he played the 1 year in Oakland, and that was it. Yeah. Okay. He had like 4 home runs or something like that. He did nothing. But no, but there's people like that, and I'm in the room, and and then I'm doing field producing and at all these games and everything. But then I transferred to news, and I loved it. I loved the adrenaline of it and everything. And I did my own resume tape and stuff, and I actually got a job offer to be a sportscaster, an anchorman in Jonesboro, Arkansas.
Oh, that's a nice place.
Yeah. I didn't do it because at the time I was I don't even know if I was married at that point or I was engaged. I don't remember what year it was, but all I remember was I wouldn't be making a lot of money. My wife would be, and this is in the middle of the .com rise, right before the burst. She would be, alone in San Francisco in a studio apartment, which at the time was like $11.50 You know, and she's working at the local Barnes and Noble bookstore. It's like, what money is she making?
Right.
You know, and then, you know, we'd both be alone. And on top of that, I'll never forget, they said, you would be taking a Cessna every Sunday to go cover the Tennessee Titans. And if anybody knows me, I don't do propellers of anything. I will never take a propeller anything into the sky. It's not gonna happen. So there are more, and around that time, I was getting so disenchanted with news. Just the personalities and the egos that were involved, and it's just something I didn't like, even though I love the adrenaline. But I knew one thing. It's like, I knew I loved PR. I dealt with a lot of PR people working in news. And both my wife and I wanted to move back home to LA. It was a cheaper place to live. Our family was there. The sun shines all the time. It's actually nice in the summertime.
Yep.
You know, all those things. I mean, there were more reasons for us to go down there. And so I just tried to find a job in LA, and it took me a while. Because this was right after 9/11 and the economy was in the shitter. So it took me a while,
Right.
But are we allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yeah, you can.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we already have, right?
I don't know. I'm usually not a cursor, but
it's all right. It's a safe place.
Yes. I just want to make sure you can edit it out.
I'll tell you what's kind of interesting is your story, honestly, is not that different from Will Ferrell. You know, he started out in kind of local sports in the LA area and decided it's not really my thing. You know, and I think that knowing what's not your thing is just as powerful as knowing what your thing is. You know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, I didn't want to be, you know, I'm happy that I'm in a job, you know, that I'm in control of, but something that I've wanted to do, you know, and it's not,
right.
I mean, some people don't always get that opportunity, you know, but I mean, you can say forever, you know, do what you love, and, you know, something that's on some like stone or some Target frame, you know.
Yeah.
You know, just, yeah, I mean, obviously
Attitude.
I don't want to be in some horrible position, but here I am, you know. It's like,
right.
But again, it's something that I if I'm in a place where I'm miserable or something is wrong, I have to fix it. It's like, I have to fix that situation because I don't want to be in it. It's why I avoid trouble. It's why I avoid people who are terrible. It's you know, I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm gonna go, why did I do this? Why?
Well, what I find so interesting is in trying to, you know, learn more about you and get background and on things, so like to ask questions. You, for a guy who's a big time publicist, I mean, you really are also the behind the scenes publicist. There's very little about you available on the internet, other than your bio that your company wrote on IMDb. I was stunned. I mean, Paul has a bigger internet footprint than you do.
I don't like to. I mean, look, most of my internet pictures or whatever, they're all, I mean, they're work related, but a lot of it's things I post on Twitter. My
right. Other than Twitter,
my IG is private. You'll see some, but you know what you'll see is a lot of pictures. You know, they might be like celebrities, but it's probably an interview that I've given, or you know, probably something with my client. I mean, look, if you ask me questions, I'll talk to you. I'm not going to talk about myself. You know, if no one's asking. I'm not going to sit there and just put myself out there. I know what I've done. You know, what is, you know, I can say, hey, look, I did a project for Beyonce in 2006. Okay. I mean, to me, that means nothing. You know, to some Beyonce fan, it means everything. But it's like, I don't go out and talk about I mean, for example, my nephews were in town and this week, and they asked me, it's like, who'd you work with this week, or I'm like, you know, and I'll say like, you know, nobody really special or whatever this week. But it's if people like that don't ask me, I don't say anything, because to me, it's not a big deal. I don't look at these people. I don't put them on a pedestal. You know, to me, they're like, this person just happens to be on your television.
Just people.
Right.
Yeah. People.
So are you a publicist that and I think I know the answer to this, but for the people at home, you're not a publicist necessarily who has long-standing clients, but rather you have a specialty. You're brought in to address specific situations. Am I right? That was kind of what I was gleaning.
I think it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
You know, one.
What are you best known for?
I think some people know me for two things. People know me for crisis communication. They know me for crisis communication a lot. They know me for my dog that's barking.
Who I believe also has his own Twitter account. Yeah,
that's Crosby. That's the famous Crosby on the Twitter account. I think she hears a truck.
Crosby Doggy, I believe, is his.
Crosby Doggy.
The surprises just keep coming today.
I know, it's amazing.
Yes. But I think a lot of people will know me for crisis communication. You know, they know me a lot for doing a lot of crisis work for the Me Too movement, for a lot of women's causes, for a lot of equal rights causes. I'm really well known in the elder abuse community. I just love beating up old people. No, I'm kidding. No,
don't take that the wrong way, folks.
No, but a lot of celebrities who are, because I think a lot of people know me from when I was dealing with the whole Casey Kasem.
Right. Well, that was a big deal.
That was a huge deal. It was probably one of the biggest news stories. I would say top 10 celebrity stories of right. 2014 or 15.
Yeah, I mean something like that. It was a weird deal.
Oh yeah, I mean I was giving press conferences on press conferences. I was doing like interviews on vacation, and I remember I was in Napa for a wedding, and I was doing and it was a dinner right before the wedding, and I was doing an interview with CNN in the middle of a vineyard. I was literally on the phone in the middle of a vineyard, you know, talking to my friend who wanted a quote from me for something.
Well, I remind the vast multitude of people who are tuning in on this, what was the crisis? What were you brought in to help?
What happened is that so I was on Twitter one day and I saw Carrie Kasem, who's Casey's daughter. Yeah. I saw her on Twitter. She was retweeted or something. For what many people don't know is that my cousin his name is Don Bustani. Don he was a camera coordinator for years on all those MTM, you know, Mary Tyler Moore shows like Phyllis, Newhart, Mary Tyler Moore. He worked on all those shows, but he's probably most well known for his best friend Casey Kasem. They both created America's Top 40 together. Okay. So Carrie was on Twitter one day, and you can find this conversation online. It's still there. I go, right. Hey Carrie, my name is Danny. I think you might know my cousin Don Bustani. He's, you know, I know he worked with your dad a lot or whatever. And she's like, oh my God, he's like an uncle to me or whatever. And you know, she immediately followed me on Twitter. I followed her. And then she started talking to me, and then she solicited to me. I said nothing of it. I wasn't expecting anything. I see you're a publicist. I have a motorcycle ride event for charity for something. I don't even remember what it was for. Would you be interested in doing PR? I'm like, oh yeah, give me a call. And she talks to me about the event. Nothing of what's going on in her life. I know nothing of what's happening.
Yeah.
No clue. I don't know Casey is sick. I don't know any of this stuff. And she, you know, so we're just talking about the film. I'm like, yeah, I was looking a couple months. I go, yeah, give me a call and we'll set something up. I tell my wife, I talked to Carrie Case and we talked about my cousin, blah, 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 blah. The next day, a news story comes up. My wife texts me this news story that Casey Kasem's body has been ripped out of the nursing home by his wife and taken, and they can't find him. And I'm like, what the hell?
And it made national news.
Yeah, and I'm like, and she's like, oh, look, she's my wife. I don't know what my wife said. I'm like, holy crap! And the first thing I did was, I called Carrie because I put my work gear into head. You know, my breaking news. That's how I work. I'm always in a breaking news frame of mind when I see something.
Yeah.
and I put that gear into. You know, I was in that gear, and I went. Carrie, do you need my help? She's like, oh, there's just so much going on. Because by the time I was reading up on what was happening with Casey and everything, I go, Carrie, just listen. Turn off your phone, because everyone was calling her. I go, turn off your phone, make your voice message, say, people call me, and we'll just, and we'll go. We'll just keep going. And I believe we had, I prepped a little bit for like an hour, and, you know, everyone in the news, and everyone in the country, in the world for that matter, was calling me, wanting to, you know, to talk to Carrie
and an interview. Something.
Yeah. And so we met at her mom's house in the Valley. And we just kind of got, it was the first time, I mean, even going to the Valley was the first time I met her. I mean, this is within 24 hours. It was the first time I even met her. And I'm saying, this is what we're going to do, you know, blah, blah, blah. Just putting out a plan. You know, I think some people came over, you know, I think like Good Morning America wanted to talk to him, like all these people wanted to talk to her or whatever. But I just basically said, look, I'm going to take care of you. You just let me handle everything. You go get your dad. And that's what we did. You know, his body, I think they eventually, not body, I don't want to say body because he was still living at this point, but he was found
Seattle.
He ended up there, but I think they went all over. I don't know if they went to Arizona. They might have gone to Arizona, but they went through Oregon, all Northern California, and ended up in Seattle of all these places. Where eventually Carrie, you know, they were, I mean, the police in Seattle, in Washington, you know, all the federal authorities, I mean, they were so wonderful, and they were all on Carrie's side, and you know, because they wanted, you know, I mean, everyone loved him.
Right.
You know,
he's a national treasure. You know what I mean?
This is the way I always say, I go, look, if you think of all the voices you heard in your life growing up, outside of your parents and siblings,
Casey Kasem, Fred Rogers. I mean, there's not many.
I mean, you've got to put him in the top 10 of like, I mean, you got to, let's say you got the radio show, you know, you're watching Super Friends on Saturday morning. He's the voice of Robin. You're watching Scooby-Doo. He's the voice of Shaggy. You're watching Josie and the Pussycats. He's one of the friends, whatever. You're watching Battle of the Planets, G-Force. He's the voice of like all these different voices. I mean, he's in your head every week. But
there's a handful of people that have influenced so many, and he's one of them. Yeah.
And so eventually, you know, the wife kind of went out of the picture. You know, we found out he had Lewy body dementia, but the wife would not even go. I mean, I don't think the wife even visited him after he died. I don't even think she visited him, and for like, she like left him there for like a week, his dead body. And but because of all that, you know, that's, you know, my job was essentially to bring attention to elder abuse and to bring attention to the situation with her, you know, my client's dad. And because of that, I ended up, and I still do, I still work with people who know my work from that. You know, I'll have kids of celebrities come to me and say, look, I haven't seen my dad in so long. Something is wrong here. I need your help with my father, you know, and that's kind of been one of the, I mean, I never knew I would be like an elder abuse advocate, but you know, that's one of the things that I've worked on since 2014, but other things too. I mean, you know, a lot of times when shit hits the fan, you know, people will call me, but again, you know, my project's not working. My one publicist is horrible. I need you to kind of lift this up. You know, everyone tells me you're great. I need you to go and, you know, give this some kind of lift. I mean, it just depends, you know, on you know, what's happening or who it's with. But I mean, I think most people know me for Crisis Comm and, you know, a lot of entertainment stuff.
Well, and you know, Chris and I, being the celebrities we are always looking for, you know, new public relations folks and publicists. I mean, it's central to our core plan, but not all of our listeners are. So I am sort of curious. You know, we don't all have spectacular hummus recipes we can post on Twitter. What advice would you give someone to sort of, because I mean, in some ways, it's easier to let someone else promote you, right? Because it's harder to talk about yourself. Look how great I am. We've been drilled into our heads since we were little, like humility, and you know, don't you know, even when there's an honest sort of reflection there. What would you say? Like, what are some things you could say to someone who's just trying to make their way? You know, that's a lot of our listeners. What could they do?
You know, what they have to do is what we have to do, and let's keep working. You know, you can't just. There are a lot of people who I have worked with, who don't have a great resume, but think they should be on whatever hit show it is. You know, and in the early part of this of this century, Oprah was the big, you know, you being on Oprah was the king. You know, like just like being on Carson in the 70s and the 80s was the big thing. Being on Oprah was the thing. And I would have people come to me all the time. It's like, oh, I want to be on Oprah. And I would look at you. What have you done? You know, it's like,
would you settle for Sally Jesse Raphael?
Do you know? Want a story about that? Segue?
Of course I do.
I was 1 month into PR. 1 month.
Okay.
Seriously, 1 month. And I got hired by this company to do something. And I think one thing that separates me from a lot of publicists in this world is that I have a news background. And
Right.
so my mind is always thinking breaking news. What do we do? How do we handle it? Let's go and solve this problem.
Yep.
And a client came in. I don't know who it was, but they were working for Sally Jesse. And Sally Jesse was about to announce this landmark lawsuit against the National Enquirer.
Oh.
I believe it was I don't remember what it is, but I think it was like defaming her name or something like that. And it came in, and they wanted to do a quick like media tour, talking to like 6 people. She'd be in a studio via satellite, and she'd be talking to people, and they wanted something done. So I wanted to impress people, and I just went like, I got this, let me do it. And so that was, and I ended up doing, I think we got her like an interview within like I think we got like a handful of interviews in like less than an hour. And by we, I mean I.
Right.
Because I was the only one that was calling stations to do it. But we got her like Entertainment Tonight, the Associated Press. I think Reuters was talking to her. This is before all the print out on the internet and everything. But we did it so fast, and I mean that was like one of the things I wanted to show my youthful exuberance and wanted just to say, I can do this.
Well, I'll tell you what. Anytime you need to land Sally Jesse Raphael on a show, Chris and I are here. Like, we're here to.
I don't think she's been on TV since we did those interviews.
We'll wear red glasses. It'll be a thing. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah, and that as you were saying, it's work hard, as you said, and a lot of people think Paul and I are overnight sensations, but the reality is we've spent years.
Chris, you gotta keep a straight face.
Podcasting
keep them
before
close,
we got
Chris.
our big break. Before we got our big break here at Email Geeks at Home drinking coffee.
Well, I mean, like a lot of podcasts and shows, I mean, it's kind of a newer phenomenon, and it's a COVID baby, much like many others, right? Like, hey, we're all stuck at home. Let's just talk. Like, let's bring a little levity and
let's talk to interesting people like you, Danny. Paul and I have used this. We started it as the name would imply that all we talk about is email marketing, and we try to talk about that. And a recent season that we did where we sort of returned to our roots was, shall we say, not a blockbuster.
Don't say that, Chris.
I just said not a blockbuster.
Okay, fair.
So we're delighted that someone like you would join us, because again, this is what our most popular episodes, frankly, are ones where we have incredibly interesting people that have incredibly interesting stories, as Paul likes to say, but he hasn't for a while. It's about telling stories, about whether it's Sally Jesse or about Casey Kasem. Or about your mother and your parents and her learning how to. That's all great stuff. So one of the things that one of the shameless reasons I was interested in having you on, and it's utterly shameless.
I know where this is going.
You know where this is going. Yeah, I know. Is this our meaning my white whale of guests is Vince Vaughn.
Oh.
He grew up in Lake Forest, where I live. I think he's moved back here recently.
Shameless, Marion.
We cannot get through to him. If you'd happen to know him and could just kind of drop in the conversation, it's a great podcast.
Call him real quick.
Yeah, I got him speed dial. Here. Hold on, Sally Jesse. I got hold on one sec. Yeah.
But we've tried everything.
But do you know what's funny? It's how many people think that I know these people. Like, it happens all the time. Like growing up in LA, like an LA guy or girl or whoever, they're not going to ask you, did you see anyone famous today? Did you do that?
Right.
But one person out of town, how many celebrities do you see a day? It's just like, what's funny is I didn't see any celebrities until after I moved back from college. Like, they would just be popping up in places.
Right.
But again, it's you've got that all the time. I mean, do I have access to people like Vince Vaughn and what I don't know him at all. I mean,
Damn it.
could I get could I get his publicist number or something like that? Probably, but I don't know the dude.
Right.
No, I thought he might be on your speed dial or something.
No.
Well, it never hurts to ask, Chris.
Phone, let alone speed dial.
Never hurts to ask.
Never, exactly. Asking's free. I like to say asking is free.
Yeah, I'm looking on my phone.
He literally, I'll tell you this, Danny. I'll tell you this is how crazy I am. Recently, in the, most towns have a Facebook group associated with that town called different names. There's one in Lake Forest. I remember Lake Forest when or whatever. And somebody posted, I don't know, like 3 or 4 Saturdays ago, a picture of Vince Vaughn and his dog in downtown Lake Forest, part we call Market Square.
That's big news.
I said, I turned to my wife and said, honey, we're getting in the car.
You did not.
And we circled the streets to see if he still might be out. And I pull over, and I already had it worked out.
So close, Chris.
And I jumped out and say, Vince, the white whale.
What could have been? That could have been your
Chris
moment.
takes like a fishing net and kidnaps the dog.
Right. I mean,
and then needless to say, he wasn't out and around.
Weird. And he's like, I have a restraining order, Marriott.
Hope springs eternal.
It really does.
Oh my goodness.
You went to the same high school as me. I mean, there's a psychic connection that I can't.
Yeah.
Are you the same age?
Well, and I will say this, Chris, as much as I do love to give
we didn't know each other in high school, but
I do love to give you grief. But Chris, you have Margaret McMullen, the author, who was fantastic. You went to high school with. Absolutely great story. Dr.
Dr. Scott Zeller.
Yeah, also spectacular out of your high school. So it's not wrong.
Do you have any famous people from your high school, Paul?
Well, sure. Benji Olsen, maybe. Benji played for the Titans.
I think so. I think I remember him.
Yeah, Benji and I wrestled together back in the day. Zoe McClellan. Zoe, she was on NCIS New Orleans, I think. Mm-hmm. It was a big high school in Washington. So some, not huge. So yeah, she was on my debate team. Nice. Huge, big time.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Vince Vaughn is probably the biggest out of our high school, though. As you said, there's other people incredibly well known in their fields and who have generously come on the program. And we recently had Nina Teicholz, the nutrition.
Yeah, Nina was great.
Author of The Big Fat Surprise,
mm-hmm.
Wall Street Journal bestselling, New York Times bestselling author. And like you, that's what I think is great. You don't know us from Adam. She didn't know us from Adam. Yeah. I reached out to her and she said, sure, I'll come on the show and talk about, nutrition and all of that. And it's amazing when as Vince Vaughn, my white whale, said in Classic Line and Wedding Crashers, people helping people, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And I'm a big fan of look, I subscribe to the philosophy of just be kind, just be nice, but at the same time, it's if the time fits and nothing else is going on and you have a moment just to chat. I think what this does is two things. Talking to people, I think charisma begets charisma. It's like when you get 2 people who just talk to each other, or 3 people in this case, and you're just shooting the shit back and forth. I think it's a feel good for the endorphins for everybody involved. I think, if it's a good story that we're talking about, the listeners are going to love it. Whether it's 1 or 5,000 or 10,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It just, as long as you're having a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
Get after yourself.
I've got no life-saving salvo to advice. It's, I'm just as nutty as the rest of you.
Well, you're in good company. Whoops. You're in good company. I think the last thing I just want to sort of draw listener, watcher attention to is sort of where you've gone lately with your Twitter account. And I want to just sort of highlight that because what I think has impressed me about you is your positivity. right? One of the things that you say is kindness is free, right? It doesn't cost anything to be kind. You post pictures of animals, which may be the least political thing in the world, just being awesome, right? And
where were those bears?
Make your day better, right?
Which one?
Where were the bears? Where were the swimming bears? What country was that?
The one from today?
Where the mom and her cubs went swimming
That
in
would be from the crazy country called California and Lake Tahoe.
There you go.
That was wow.
I just think the idea that, like, I'll tell you what, when we were in the midst of doom scrolling, and some still are, the idea of having an interruption to be like, take a breath, it's gonna be okay. Here's an otter swimming, right? That's,
my Twitter account, I mean, if you can go back before 2016, it was relatively the same as it is now. I mean, maybe a little bit different. Maybe I was more vocal on things or whatever sometimes, but never about politics.
Right.
I'm a firm believer, if the three of us are all rooting for the Yankees or whatever team, who cares? I mean, insert team.
Mariners, but whatever.
Mariners, whatever.
White Sox.
Whatever it is, whoever. The Seattle Pilots. No.
There you go.
I mean, whatever team it is.
Yeah, no, we're good.
I don't have to scream at you. Look, okay, I'm going to use the Yankees for a reason. If we're all three Yankee fans, we're sitting there. I'm not going to scream at you to tell you why you shouldn't root for the Red Sox.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Every one of us, we like the Yankees. We probably like the same foods. We like the same beer. We might like the same movies. We all get along. It's the same thing. Who are you following on social media? You're not following some asshole. You're not following somebody who's the antithesis of everything you believe in.
Right.
Everyone believes of everyone, that you're following. You're just preaching to the choir.
Right.
It's a giant like think.
Yeah,
group.
echo chamber.
Yeah, hive mind.
Yeah, and you're not going to change my mind,
right?
Because my mind doesn't need to be changed. That's how I feel. You're not going to change the person whoever you're talking to mind, unless it's something I'm completely oblivious about on a subject that I don't know. But I know who I'm voting for. I know who I'm rooting for. I know what I'm going to eat. I know what music I like to listen to. So it's to me, with this doom scrolling and everything, it's just dumb.
Right.
But I know the one thing that we have connection in us, whether it's, like you're in the first stage of your Grinch, 2 sizes too small heart, is that everyone has a little bit of kindness and good in them that everyone appreciates, whether you voted for Trump, whether you voted for Biden, whether you voted for whoever.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has that in them. And that's my purpose. It's just like, look, just stop what you're doing.
Stop.
Because, there's people who I love who are just constantly just still talking about like the last guy. It's like, okay, move on to the next one. It's over with. Move. I mean, you can still talk about the insurrection and stuff, but all these things are happening now. He's not there anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot.
This way is where you go. Keep going. You want the old guy back? You can vote him back, but he's not coming back. This is here for 4 years.
Then you can yell at him again for 4 years.
Right. Whatever it is. I don't care. But it's like, just keep moving forward. And I mean, and talk about the things that make you feel good.
Right.
I mean, I hate the last president, or I hate so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what problem did you solve? Nothing. You just posted a statement on Twitter that's going to benefit absolutely nobody.
Right.
And it's like, you know what? If I can make you smile by looking at a picture of, a doggy on a floaty somewhere that just looks, in the middle of a lake, just kind of minding its own business, I'm going to do that. If I can make you smile with a video of, some kid doing something miraculous, there's some things I won't post, at all. But if I'm going to make you smile and feel good, that's all I want. It's like because I want my timeline to reflect good things. I don't want to be like, this constant doom and gloom, which I think it's died a little bit, but people still have this post-traumatic stress over it. It's just like, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Give it a rest, man.
For sure. Well, I don't think that's wrong. And like taking the politics from our last election out of it, there is, you throw COVID in, there's so much going on so many different fronts. And I think we gravitate, or I think the negative we sort of get sucked into, and we have to choose sort of the positive. We have to choose to say.
So much easier to relate to anger than it is.
Yep.
I mean, it's because it's such a, look, you can tell me you love me and I'm going to go, but you can tell me you hate me and I'm going to go, react and go,
right.
What the hell? Why do you hate me? Whether it's, Danny, you're a great guy. I love you, man. I'm just going to be, thank you. I mean that. Danny, you're a piece of crap. What did I do? There's such a reaction in you of when you hear the negative. And I think it's so easy to bring the pitchfork and just say,
right,
I gotta do something with this rage and I don't know what to do. And
before we get too far away from baseball, I just want to clarify.
Nice transition, Chris.
That my favorite team is the White Sox, and my second favorite team is whoever are playing the Yankees that day.
That's fair. And
why? The White Sox and the Yankees have nothing. There's like nothing there.
Listen, the rest of America hates.
Would it be the Cubs? I mean, your rival's like the Royals.
Yeah, yeah, they're pretty good sometimes.
You have the most boring teams in your division.
Oh my Lord!
Wait, we have the Guardians. We
have the Guardians now. The Guardians.
I know. I was actually in Cleveland this week, and I drove by the stadium, and they still have the Indians name on there, and I thought, wow, that's going to be coming down at the end of this season.
You don't know how much I wish Bob Hope was still alive, just so we can see that.
Well, another thing we have in Chicago, we say there are baseball fans and there are Cubs fans.
Right.
Cubs fans are a whole. I've only been to Wrigley once, and I remember it was like about somewhere like 2004, 2005. And I remember because Ken Griffey Jr. was playing for the Reds. They were playing the Reds that day.
Yeah.
And sorry, Paul. What I remember about that was the Cubs were getting, pretty much like usual, their ass kicked. I mean, this is before they started doing good, but I mean, they usually had more bad seasons than good ones. They were down like 6-1. I think the final score of the game was like 7-2, 9-2.
Yeah.
But seventh inning, bottom of the seventh, everyone is still there. They're down by 6-7 runs. Everyone is still there.
Yeah.
Still loud. And I'm like, why? I don't care where you are, what ballpark you go to, but if your team's down by 6-7 runs, I wouldn't say half, but at least a good amount of people have left the ballpark by that point to get home.
Particularly if it's after the seventh inning when they've stopped selling beer, I'm out.
Yeah, but whatever it is, it's you're gone. I mean, unless you're a weird fan like me who would cry because they would want to get there early and want to see the whole thing, or
right.
When I was little, I used to cause such a scene. But I mean, my hats off are to them. I mean, I think it's trendy to like the Cubs, but again,
yeah,
it's still kind of
right.
I'm like, I felt bad. Like I remember when the White Sox won, and even Ozzie Guillen, when he was managing that team, said we won the World Series and nobody cares. And no one's talking about us in our own city. Right. And it's true. It's like they're so second class, and that's how I would feel, especially when I was in San Francisco. The Giants didn't win anything yet. Then nobody cared about the Giants until they moved into their new ballpark. Right. But here was a team that was across the bay that had 4 World Series titles.
Yep.
Right.
And there is nobody at this A's game. Like I'd go, we would always go to the A's Yankee games, or I just love going to games, period. And there's nobody there. Whether it's, I mean, they would have, I don't know if they still do it, but they would have Dollar Wednesdays. And all Dollar Wednesdays would do was just bring in about 20,000 people, 25,000 people. I remember going to, if I went to a Yankee game at the Oakland Coliseum or whatever the hell it's called now, there's 40,000 people and 30,000 are Yankee fans.
Yeah.
Right.
I was watching the game last night, and I don't know what I'm assuming that they can at least be half capacity or whatever.
Right.
They didn't even draw for the Yankees. There's
Ooh.
like nobody in this ballpark. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, even the Yankees can't bring in people, and they were mainly Yankee fans that were there.
Yeah.
But you didn't want to come see the Yankees? Something's going on.
Well, it is an awful stadium.
Yes, I have a lot of good
Well, Oakland's struggling Oakland's a great community with like deep roots, but in terms of professional sports, they've been struggling. It's not just to draw, but to sort of relate. That's what it seems.
But look, even the days of, when the Warriors were there,
right,
no one gave a crap.
Right.
No one did. I mean, they had some decent seasons with, when Chris Mullen was there. They
Mitch
had
Richmond. He was a
Tim
Warrior.
Hardaway. He was
Run
a Warrior.
DMC, baby.
Run TMC, yeah. I grew up a Laker fan, so we always beat them, so we didn't care. But but there weren't a lot of fans that were going to these games. It wasn't like it was always packed. I mean, they
Right.
went. I mean, I think it was great. I mean, the diehards were the people from Oakland, like the black
Right.
community. Love the Warriors, love them. But like getting anybody else in, we'll see.
I mean, that's the Raiders story too, right? Like, there's
That's a
diehards.
whole other show.
Well, no, but there's diehards getting other people. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Right, guys.
Yeah.
Well, and with that, I think it probably is worth saying you've given us a lot of time. I appreciate it. This has been awesome. Folks that have listened and heard want to get in touch with you. I'm assuming the Twitters is probably a good way to do that.
Mhm.
Do you have a preferred way to, like, hey, something you said, Danny, really related. I'd love to hear more about this, or love to connect on that. What would be the best way to do that?
I mean, you can pretty much contact me. I mean, you can look for my contact info on the internet. I'm sure it exists. But through Twitter, which is just at Danny Deraney. I have a podcast with JoJo from Jers right now called Shut Up to Bully, which is doing fairly well. We're going to start our new season soon. You can contact or listen that way. But go to my website, deraneypr.com, DERANEYPR.com, and that's the easiest way. And on my Twitter, I have all my LinkedIn accounts and linked accounts where you can just click on the link and reach me that way.
Cool. Well, again, thank you for your time today. Thank you for sharing. Honestly, fantastic stories.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And,
Very eclectic conversation. Much enjoyed. And remember, if you run into Vince at some Hollywood celeb cocktail party,
I'll talk to you offline about that.
oh
All right.
my goodness. Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for sticking with the show. Thanks, Danny, for joining us, and we'll see you next time, folks. And we're back.
We're back. We're so
Oh.
Look at that. Look at that. Sonic, welcome to Sonic, David. Producer David Inman, none other than welcome to the post show.
Hey guys, happy to be here. Thank you.
I know you often tell us how you've gone to Sonic or about to go to Sonic for lunch, and I guess it's
good
become
lunch too, Chris.
Yeah.
So good.
But I've always. Do you ever go there for breakfast?
I have.
I never have. I'm not much of a breakfast guy. Is it good? Is it a good breakfast?
Paul?
It's fine. Like, I'm not. I mean, it depends. Like, the answer here is it depends. Can we land Sonic as a sponsor? If so, come on down and get your Sonic breakfast, healthy part of your day. If not, it's pretty good. You know what I mean? No complaints. It's when you're in a hurry, I think it's a great food.
Yeah, well,
I'm just so glad they're so close to us here in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah, they're probably the nearest one to us here in Illinois is about 800 miles or so from here. But however, when we're down in Alabama, we've got one right there in Fairhope, Alabama.
Right.
And buy it and look at it longingly.
That may be why David posted that up there. I will, one thing I will point out, people are rabid about the ice from Sonic.
Did
you know that? Those little round ice pellets, people love those. I don't know why. They're just ice. But yeah, like you're talking to people, you're like, hey, I was thinking about going to Sonic, and they'll be like, have you had their ice?
What about Zaxby's?
Zaxby's is good. In fact, David, we may want to bring up the chicken sandwich comparator today. You know what I mean? It might be the day. So yeah, if you'll pull that up.
Wow. Let's see how quick it can be. I mean,
So,
this was not planned, ladies and gentlemen.
It
This
dials
is
right.
Spontaneous.
It dials right into the question, which you were asking, which is, what do you think about Zaxby's? Zaxby's is good. What we did, Chris, and just to set this up, you've heard of the chicken sandwich wars?
Yes.
Yes, right. And I mean, they're big, they're huge, right? And the problem was there was so much information coming at us in so many different directions. It was really hard for us to sort of keep up and really have an opinion, because I don't even know, right? Like which one is the best in all of the things. And so I asked David to put together a spreadsheet where we could look at the different chicken sandwiches and rate them on different levels to really determine what is the best chicken sandwich, to help us arrive at, all of the things. I mean, I think, how do I do setting that up, David?
No, that's exactly right. It's just, the pursuit of science and data is a beautiful thing, and can help us draw conclusions that would otherwise be impossible.
David, would you walk us through the spreadsheet a little bit, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as you can see, a lot of the values are color coded using in some cases 100-point scale, but for the main options here, it's just a 10-point scale, with 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, and then of course there are zeros interjected, dashes for sandwiches that haven't been eaten yet or don't qualify. For example, the Hardee's hand-breaded chicken and waffle sandwich does not have a pickle, so the pickle quality.
So it wouldn't be fair to include that in the calculations.
Right. It can't be counted against it or for it. So.
Right.
Well, I don't think you could have a dill pickle with a sweet honey maple glaze. So I think that was probably a wise decision on their part.
Right. No, and you're talking about real seasoned experts doing this stuff on the other side, right? And they're deserving of this level of analyses. And David, I think you and I kind of arrived at different answers on. I mean, top 3. What were your top 3, David?
Well, according to the chart, number 1 is the spicy chicken sandwich from Burger King. The buttered savory sauce, lettuce, and tomato. And a lot of it is that number 10 for crispiosity. You really just can't beat the crunch and the crispiness of that spicy chicken sandwich from Burger King.
That's right. And Chris, I don't think I ever finished up my scores here, though I asked David to put this together. My number 1 was Bojangles. Number 2 was Zaxby's, and number 3 was Burger King.
Well, I have a question. I have a couple of questions here. Number 1, color coding, very key, because your eye can instantly go to where it wants to go. Is that color coding baked into the Excel spreadsheet, or do you have to code it after the fact? And I ask because my guy who does my scorecards for our RFPs, Rob Pratt, who is a Rob, if you're watching,
you're welcome for that free publicity.
Rob Pratt does all my scorecards, and the colors are automatically applied to the Excel spreadsheet based on how high or low they are. Green being on the high end, red being the low. So I ask, is this an accurate fact, or have you done such wizardry in your spreadsheet as well?
Thank you for asking, Chris. I like to take credit for my conditional formatting here.
Look at that!
Thank you.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, how would you not want someone like producer David Inman on your team? Because
it reminds me of Clarke's third law, that any sufficiently advanced technology is barely distinguishable from magic. And frankly, David, this is magic.
Well, and I'm also going to throw on here, Chris, if you're a data company, you want someone like David on the team who could say, hey, David, we got to figure out what's the best chicken sandwich. And then this magic spreadsheet arrives.
I do have to say, I'm stunned, before we move off this brilliant spreadsheet, I'm stunned by where you ranked Chick-fil-A.
We should talk about it.
Middle of the pack? Because you don't like the sauce?
Yeah, it's the lack of sauce. I have to dock it for this particular. That's a great question, Chris. That's a fantastic question, because I really mulled over this a lot, because I think if you had asked me a year ago, who's got the best chicken sandwich around, I would have said it's probably Chick-fil-A, right? You go to Chick-fil-A, you know what you're going to get. It's going to be tasty.
Right.
But for this type of running, I have to include the sauce factor, and the fact that I don't even think they include sauce. If anything, maybe it's like
you can buy, you can get like Chick-fil-A sauce or whatever and add it on your own, but it's not standard.
Right, and the
I mean,
manual.
my stepson brought a bottle of it home, and he puts it on whenever I grill chicken. He puts it on.
And it's
loves
delicious.
That sauce.
It's delicious, Chris. No one is arguing the
Well,
deliciousness
apparently
of
David
the
doesn't.
sauce.
Producer David doesn't think it's delicious.
David is saying that the default chicken sandwich vehicle that they've created does not have sauce by default.
Do you
I don't
have to
think
pay
that's
extra for the sauce?
No, sauce
or
is
do you
free.
get it for free?
It's free, but they don't put it on. Like I could put I could take Chick-fil-A sauce and put it on anything, Chris. Anything. It's not. It's not just the chicken sandwich.
You know, I think that's. I mean, they're giving you options, and I think that you've downscored them as a result of that. When I think, in many ways, that would be. I mean, what if you NA'd that? What if you NA'd that?
Right. Well, so that's a fair question.
Where would they be if you NA'd it?
I would challenge you back, Chris, and say I go to Arby's and Arby's sauce is on the bun, right? Which is different than Chick-fil-A sauce, which is separate. So in one case, I would say include it. One case, I would say don't. That's my take. I stand by David Inman, producer David Inman's approach here.
All right. I may have to fill out my own spreadsheet at some point, but I'd have to be down in Alabama to do that because we don't have Hardee's, we don't have Zaxby's, we don't have Chick-fil-A. But anyway,
well,
one last question: are these all weighted equally, producer David? Is every category, or are some higher weighting than others?
Another good question, Chris. As of now, they are all weighted equally.
Well, and there's certainly is some argument around maybe bumping crispiosity up or biteability up, because for me personally, the Burger King chicken sandwich, the one David ranked the highest, the biteability was a little bit lower because it was such a big bun and just less biteable.
So biteability refers to ease of entry to mouth.
Correct.
Well, I'm sure our audience is wondering that, and I was wondering that myself until Paul said, the more you have to open your trap,
no, we're good, Chris. I'm good. Ease there. Okay, this is downhill. All right. Well, I'm going to switch gears on us, Chris.
All right. Well, this is brilliant, though. That was brilliant. And again, ladies and gentlemen, unplanned, spontaneous entertainment. Right. That's what you come to expect from Email Geeks at Home drinking coffee.
Chris, I'm going to direct your attention to some of the comments we've gotten on the Email Geeks Coffee on YouTube. Have you had a chance to look at any of these? I hope the answer is no, because I'd love some unsolicited responses.
I have not recently.
Okay, good. All right. So this one came 2 months ago. We've had some incredible guests. I think we start with that. One of those is Danny Deraney, who we just got through. Absolutely
great show, Danny. Again, thank you for being on.
Yeah, great show. And so we've had some incredible guests, and for whatever reason, people feel like they should comment or want to comment, and that's awesome because I think it's pretty interesting. All right, so Michael McCurdy, this is on our Nina Teicholz episode, right? He said, awesome interview, right? I can never get enough of Nina. Have listened to several other talks and interviews with her, and you guys really need to interview New Zealand scientist Bart Kay. He will blow your minds with his expertise. That's a nice comment, right? I mean, that's a nice
comment.
Yeah, nice comment. And down here, he says, yes, Paul is fantastic. But keep in mind, he's not talking about me. He's talking about Dr. Paul Mason, also from Australia. We just share the same name. Again, nice comment, right?
Good clarification.
Yeah. I have a couple others here that I'd love to get your take on. Entertaining coffee clatch, but with little science presented.
Well,
it cuts, doesn't it?
Science is science.
Yeah. I mean, that is true. Where's another good one here? There's somebody that tells us when Nina is speaking because they do not like our voices, Chris.
What's wrong with our voices?
I don't, honestly, I don't know, but it is pretty fantastic. Here it is. Nina is giving me such a great amount of great information. And the guy with the brown hair, that's me, I'm pretty sure, looks like he's totally falling asleep and does not want to be there. And keeps interrupting with, yep.
Actually, I think that's a fair accusation.
Right.
You
Yep.
did look a little bit.
Yep. It says he needs to just let her talk with no interruptions and give her the respects that he is mildly interested, head straight. And, that's right. I'm sorry. I don't have any excuses other than I was probably pretty tired that day. I think Nina's fantastic.
Fortunately, I was on my game. I brought my A game. Right?
Oh, you were, Chris. You were, no question. No question at all. But in general, really great comments. I look forward to reading these.
And we appreciate it, folks. Always feel free to comment, good, bad, indifferent,
Right.
on our YouTubes.
But I will say, the fact that we're getting fantastic guests enough that people want to comment, that's pretty fantastic, right? We're glad that we get to do this.
Yeah, we are. So, and we've got a great guest lined up for our next episode. Really excited about that. So, again, we try to bring you the premium web content, always to entertain, inform, and possibly make you question the way things are.
Yeah.
Including what's the best chicken sandwich.
Right. There you go.
So David, before we go, so David, now that you've built this IP scorecard, you've got IP behind the scorecard, what's next? What will be scored next?
That's a great question, Chris. Sometimes when you're in the data space, you just like to flex your muscles a little bit, but you got to save the real quality logic, the real expert weighting for the important stuff, like audience points' list fit reporting engine.
You make a good point. In other words, you don't want to get distracted with, tater tot scoring or something.
Right. Well, honestly, that might be interesting. We have a lot of conversations in our house about the side that goes with the entree, and there really is a fair amount of diversity there. So I think that'd be an interesting discussion.
Well, producer David, if you do it, we'd love to have you bring it back and on the show and show us that.
Thank you. That's very kind.
All right.
As always, feel free to email us, reach out, emailgeekscoffee@gmail.com, like, follow, subscribe, do all the things.
And next time, we'll be sure to grill Paul about that monstrosity behind him. So until next time, thank you.